Hey there, you with the stars in your eyes. I'm Kiris, and you're listening to the Voice of Astrology podcast, your cosmic superpower. This week in astrology, we have Mercury, the planet of communication, entering the sign of Aries. Mars, the planet of action and getting things done, enters Leo, and we have the solar ingress into the sign of fixed Earth, Taurus, ruled by Venus. Taurus season is about to begin. Sunday, April 13th, we are still in full moon energy, and oh, what a lovely, enchanting full pink moon that was at 23 degrees Libra, ruled by Venus. 23 degrees Libra has the signature, the imprint of a fixed star called Spica, the sweetest star in the heavens. Venus turned direct, exalted in Pisces, and now as we begin the week on April 13th, the emotions are still running high, the energy is still intense, and we are starting off this Sunday, the Sun's Day, with the moon now in her fall in fixed water Scorpio. Now with the moon in Scorpio, we want to be very aware of not being easily triggered emotionally, because the moon in Scorpio is making a square aspect to Pluto in fixed air Aquarius. Now the moon in Scorpio, making this square to Pluto, is very deep, very intense, and very passionate. The moon can't get enough. The moon is always hungry. And when the moon is in addictive fixed water Scorpio, making this square action, then emotions from the past can easily be triggered. The moon has to do with the emotional imprints, the emotional baggage that you've been carrying that was never yours to carry to begin with. The moon in her fall in Scorpio represents not only your inner child, the baby, the moon, but also the nurturing mom or the primary caretaker. Something very easily can get out of control, too emotional. For instance, Pluto in Aquarius is very light, it's very independent, and air likes to move, air likes its space. Aquarius, which is very different and doesn't blend easily by element with water, the moon in Scorpio. Water and air are two elements that don't really recognize each other or connect easily. So something as simple as, let's say someone in your life just wants their space. This is Pluto in Aquarius and all of the air signs. All of the air signs need to move and they need their space. It's not intense and deep and emotional like Scorpio. So let's say someone in your life hasn't called, hasn't texted in a few days. They're just off and doing what Pluto in Aquarius does. They're moving and exploring other things, air sign. And you've not heard from them for a few days. Well, this moon in Scorpio, which is instinctual, the moon is not about analyzing and thinking. The moon is just your emotional body, how you feel. Well, someone disappearing for a few days can easily trigger something in you if we're not careful about it. Now, Aquarius is also friendship. So let's say you've invited someone into your friend group, your inner circle. And that friend, and I hear this all the time, by the way, as a professional astrologer, where someone will invite another person into their friend group, and then the new person in the friend group will go off and do something, make friends with someone in your friend group, and this can easily trigger a big emotional moon in Scorpio drama, because the feeling here or the potential here is the moon in Scorpio is extremely sensitive, and the trigger here is if you're feeling rejected or attachment issues, like someone isn't around so much anymore, this is still full moon energy where the emotions can get out of hand. So as we start off the week on Sunday, which is the sun, the awareness, the consciousness of what issues around attachment, feeling abandoned, feeling rejected. Also with the moon in Scorpio, what emotions are connected to the addiction to the negative emotions, anger, depression. Again, this comes from what the moon, the cosmic energy of the moon is all about, which is the nurturing mom caretaker or lack thereof. The potential here in a positive way with this moon square Pluto is to become aware of what exactly may be causing you to get emotional, having to do with the issues around emotion and abandonment, being left, being rejected. The square is always activation, it's action. The square is the aspect in astrology that says, do something about this. It's an energy, it's an engine that moves us forward. So if we try to go deeper and become more aware, then what could be a very harmless little thing, no harm intended with the moon square Pluto in Aquarius, they just haven't called for a few days or whatever, no big deal. When we try to be more aware and connect to the cosmic energy, then this can be a great learning experience of how something that is just so innocent and harmless can make us feel abandoned. And it's really that internal emotional process with the moon. The moon is the emotional body where we all live. And what upsets you or sets you off can be very different, obviously, than what is no big deal, no harm intended to another person. The full pink moon in Libra was all about love and relationship and just how love is, it's everything. We all live for relationships and love. And we are starting off the week with that consciousness, that awareness still in full force just about. But now the moon has fallen into Scorpio. Overly sensitive, overly reactive if we're not careful with this moon square Pluto, which is transformation and fixed air, freedom, independent Aquarius. The square aspect in astrology is not an easy aspect. It's an aspect that encourages us, moves us to do something that we need to deal with. It's potentially here a great learning experience and a great empowering lesson that we may need to learn about closeness and connection, along with freedom and not trying to control. Both can coexist harmoniously if we're willing to do the work with the square aspect. Monday, April 14th, we have the moon's day moody, and we still have the moon in fixed water Scorpio, making an inconjunct aspect of adjustments and changes, little things that mean so much to Jupiter in Gemini, its detriment ruled by Mercury. The waning moon is starting to cool down a bit, but we still have this moon in fixed water Scorpio, easily triggered if we're not careful. Now with this inconjunct aspect to Jupiter, which doesn't know when to quit, Jupiter is big and doesn't recognize boundaries, in its detrimental placement of Gemini ruled by Mercury, this is when we would want to be very careful about what we say. We wouldn't want words to come back on us because we were just speaking with that moon in Scorpio emotional mind, not thinking things through, not staying even keel, and being more aware of what we're saying and also what is being said to us. Now, because Jupiter in Gemini ruled by Mercury has to do with sales and making deals and contracts and all of the things that Mercury rules over. Mercury is commerce, it's buying and trading. We all know just about what a trap it can be when we are about to purchase something and or do purchase something because of emotions. In other words, emotional spending. Now, Scorpio is joint finances. It has to do with debt and credit cards and just the way our money is merged with others. And with this moon in Scorpio making an inconjunct, the inconjunct to Jupiter is trying to be very mindful and very aware of not getting into a situation, agreement, a contract where we're purchasing a big ticket item because of emotional spending. Remember, Jupiter in its detriment in Gemini can also be a salesperson that is trying to sell you a bill of goods. And when we're feeling emotional and abandoned, when something is getting triggered, we can be more easily influenced to spending on something that we don't want to. Because when we're not feeling strong emotionally, we have a tendency to reach out to try to get something to comfort us, like food or like shopping, spending. We're trying to fill ourselves up with something to make us feel better. This is the moon in conjunct this Jupiter, which is we wouldn't want to try to acquire something that we're going to regret later because it was done out of emotion and not more level-headed thinking. Tuesday, Mars's Day, April 15th, we finally have Mercury leaving its shadow storm period and moving up to full speed. Now, on this day, we've got Mercury changing signs and moving into cardinal fire Aries. Mercury in Aries is all fired up about starting something new. Cardinal Aries is also the cosmic energy, the power of you deciding that you are going to take charge and be the boss of your own life. The cardinals, Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, they lead us into a new time, a new season of life. So with this Mercury out of its storm shadow and entering very bold and brave cardinal Aries, first sign of the zodiac, then one, if you have felt lost, like in some way you haven't been in charge of your life, then this Mercury now entering Aries is you taking control, taking charge of where you want to go, what new season of your life you are going to drive into. And it's also very exciting because when we look at the cosmic energy of Aries, this is the enthusiasm, the fire, the joy of just being alive and being excited about where you are the boss, taking control, driving the ship, and moving forward into a new season, a new time in your life. You may be thinking about and asking yourself the question just how big and far and how much you want to reach for the stars on this day. Because the moon enters mutable fire Sagittarius and makes its first fire trine flow to Neptune now in Aries. So this is how big do you want to dream? How high can you go? Reaching for the stars. We love mutable fire Sagittarius, which is that nothing is impossible. There are no limits and boundaries. Cosmic energy. The Neptune in Aries, which we've chatted about on this podcast, is this reconstruction, this new way you are constructing and defining your sense of I am. This is who I am, the more true, authentic self. So this is a very exciting aspect on this day with the moon trine Neptune in fire plus Mercury out of its shadow and moving into the first you are the boss of your life sign of the zodiac, Aries. Wednesday, Mercury's day, we still have the moon in mutable fire Sagittarius making a sextile aspect of opportunity to Pluto in Aquarius. The blending of fire and air. Those two elements enhance each other, support each other. The fire and the air, it grows together and gets bigger and more excited. Also on this day, we have Mercury, now in Aries, making a conjunction to Neptune, now in Aries. So this again is the way your mind is changing, connected to your thoughts, what you say to yourself, how you build yourself up. This is in Aries, especially if there's anything that you've been nervous or afraid to do. That is not the sign of Aries. Aries is the sign of bravery and courage. So let's say, for instance, with this Mercury conjunct Neptune in Aries, You've had a dream. You've had a vision of something you would like to create, go do in your life. But for whatever reason, you may have talked yourself out of it. You may have been too nervous or cautious about at least taking action. Not with these aspects. With this Mercury in Aries conjunct Neptune in Aries, it's a whole new way of thinking and believing. And most importantly, with the fire element, doing something about it. Aries being the newborn baby of the zodiac, that first little baby step that you have the courage to take, and you do, it can change and transform everything in your life. Because if you have the courage to take that first little Aries baby step, then you'll take the next one and the next one and the next one. Before you know it, it becomes a habit to think more in a positive way, to take actions that are more positive and healthy for you. You've got it in you, and you will see with this cosmic energy as we go into Wednesday, Mercury's day. Mercury, of course, being the mind, what we say to ourselves, to others, how you talk to yourself, which will support what it is that you believe you can do. Thursday, Jupiter's day, April 17th. Hooray! Yay! Mars is leaving its fall placement in Cancer and moving into fixed fire Leo, which rules over the heart. Now, Mars is all about getting things done and taking action. Mars in Leo, fixed fire Leo, is the heart, the courage. Mars in Leo is a friendly triplicity, meaning Mars functions very effectively in the fire signs: Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. The planet Mars is not only action, but Mars rules over the blood, the vitality, the life force. The long Mars in its fall in Cancer and retrograde was very draining for a lot of people, to say the least. So with Mars now healthy and vital, if you've put off an exercise program, maybe just taking a walk every day, but doing something where you're more healthy and effective, especially with the muscles, which Mars rules over, the blood, which Mars rules over, and taking those steps. Remember, with the Mercury going into Aries and now Mars in Leo, if you're starting an exercise program, doing something physical, if you can walk around the block for 5 minutes, you can go a half hour and go further and further. In other words, this component here, the Mars entering Leo, is something where you get your health back on track if you've not been paying so much attention to your health. Mars is also the planet that cuts things away, things that need to go. So it could be cutting away something in your diet, too much sugar, whatever it may be. But what needs to go at this time to enhance greater health and well-being? This is our fantastic Mars leaving its fall placement and moving in fixed fire Leo. Leo rules the heart. So when your heart is backing something up, meaning when your heart, which is essential, it's the center of your beingness, is saying, yes, I'm all in, nothing's going to stop you. This is the Mars entering Leo. Friday, Venus's day, April 18th. The last aspect on Friday before the moon goes void of course is the moon in Sagittarius making a fire trine flow to the sun exalted in Aries. So the moon and the sun in harmony, in fire, is saying, yes, your heart and your mind, your emotions and your intellect, your masculine and your feminine, the moon, it's all in. There's nothing to stop you. Then the moon goes what's called void of course. Before the moon changes signs, there'll be a certain amount of time. Sometimes it can be a few minutes, sometimes it can be a whole day. But there'll be a certain amount of time before the moon enters the next sign of the zodiac, when the moon doesn't make connections to any of the other planets. So the moon is in the void. It's off course. It's just hanging out before it goes to the next sign of the zodiac. So on this Friday, Venus's day, the last beautiful aspect is the moon in Sagittarius making that fire trine flow to the sun exalted in Aries, where everything is aligned for clear manifestation. Then the moon goes void of course before she enters the sign of Capricorn, which is her detriment. The moon in her exile in the sign of Capricorn, meaning the opposite, the furthest away from her castle. This is when the moon is at home in Cancer. The moon in Capricorn is the furthest away in her detrimental placement and makes square aspects to Neptune and Mercury in Aries. Capricorn and Aries are both cardinal signs of the zodiac, meaning the conflict of who's running the show, who is the boss. Now the square between Capricorn, which is the outworn, making squares to Aries, the newborn baby, it's all fresh and new ahead of us. This is the square prompting us to take action, to stop hanging on to the restrictions in the past of Capricorn ruled by Saturn. This is boldly and very courageously going into the future, which is how and where you find your home. Remember, the moon in Capricorn in its detriment is the furthest away from feeling like it belongs, from feeling like it's included and at home. It's safe, relaxed with the familiar around it. This is an aspect here where finding your home is in some place new, some place you've not explored or discovered yet. That place would be within yourself, in your emotional body. It's very exciting, and there is so much more to discover as far as where your emotional home is. And when you are emotionally home, connected to your emotional body, which is where we all live, you are home. You can be any place physically on earth and still have that feeling of grounded, safe, I'm home. In other words, the cosmic superpower is saying explore, discover, and express new and different emotions that perhaps you've always been restricting Capricorn, Saturn, and squashing down and repressing. The Aries is trying to free you. The Mercury and Neptune in Aries is trying to encourage you to take action and express yourself in ways emotionally that you haven't done before. This is how you shine your light in your own emotional body home. Because Aries is fire and has to do with temper and anger, if you're one of those people that were never allowed to express what you were angry or upset about, for you, this is a brand new, unexplored discovery that you are going to go to, which is a big part of how you connect to your emotional body and find your way back home. It doesn't have to be anger. I'm just using that as an example because Aries is very fiery, doesn't repress. You know, with Aries, at its best, exactly where they are and where they stand emotionally. You could look at it from a different angle, which is people that don't care about you don't get in there and fight with you. How many times have you done it? We've all done it. Someone ticks you off one time, they're gone. As opposed to when I throw a coffee pot across the room at your head, that means I love you. We're going to get into it. We're going to be fighting about something, meaning we're going to work through this conflict and nobody's getting out of this room until the conflict is resolved and settled. You could think of anger that way in a certain sense. This is not a promotion to be an angry person and to go around picking fights, but it is a natural part of your humanity. And think about this because it's true. People that don't care about you, they don't bother to get into conflict and fight with you. They don't care. They just leave. You've done it. I've done it. We've all done it. Well, this moon in its detriment in Capricorn making these square aspects of do something about it with Mercury and Neptune in Aries is, are you finally going to have the courage, Aries, to really have closeness and intimacy with someone because you're willing to fight for the relationship. You might want to try to look through it through that different kind of a lens and an angle. People that don't care don't fight for the relationship. They don't fight for anything. They just walk away because they don't care. Not worth it to get upset. Saturday, April 19th, we now enter beautiful, lovely, loving Taurus season. We have the solar ingress moving into fixed Earth Taurus, ruled by Venus. So when we go into Taurus season, we are entering the time of the year, Taurus, when the sun is in Taurus, where the weather, the temperature is for the most part fixed. Fixed Earth Taurus is calm, it's peaceful, it's steady. It's an energy that is more something that you can be sure of, you can count on. And Taurus, ruled by Venus, is the springtime, which is made for all of the pleasures and delights. Springtime is the time for love. It's getting back to the basics of feeling really grounded, not only in your body, but grounded in nature and all of the sensations, the sensual delights of life, the music, the food, the fragrance, nature, animals, all of it. Taurus is very sensual, to say the least, ruled by Venus, and all they want is peace and love. Taurus, ruled by Venus, is also the artist. Every single person has a creative side to them. We're either destroying or creating. So as we go into Taurus season, you may want to shift your lens to what is it that you are creating, wanting to create. What is that beautiful form of art? Sun in Taurus can be the art of relationship, art of lifestyle. It's all in art form. So as we move into fixed Earth Taurus, that is there for you no matter what. What I love about Taurus is that they are 100%. The sign of the zodiac, if you have earned their love and trust, is enduring. They're not fair weather friends that won't bother to fight with you. They will get in there and be there for you, ride or die, once they have made the commitment to do so. Now, Taurus doesn't like to be pushed. It takes its time. And with Taurus, you're certainly going to get more flies with honey, because if a Taurus stubborn says, no, forget it, they're just not going to budge. But once Taurus makes that commitment that they are all in, then they are in 1,001% to the end, ride or die. So we're not to take for granted Taurus season. And because Taurus is the sign of Gaia, Mother Earth, look at how nature never lets us down. Mother Earth and nature, it's there for us no matter what. So there is a respect and a responsibility to take care of nature, Mother Earth, and all connected to nature and Mother Earth. This is the Taurus season. It's not only love, it is appreciation and enjoyment, of course, of all the abundance and beauty that is around us, consistently growing. There's more than enough for everyone. This is the sign of Taurus, and this is the world, Mother Earth, and nature as we move into the Taurus fixed Earth season. Just like a mountain that is there, solid as a rock, this is our entry into the Taurus month of the year. After what has been a very difficult winter the past several months for many, many people, then this Taurus season is giving us a break, a rest from that. It's about finding the peace and love and getting back into balance. Taurus being ruled by Venus at her best. Taurus also wants to build an empire. Taurus has the patience, the endurance to make something that will stand the test of time, like the age of the pyramids. So if you've had to put off, for whatever reason, something that you love, that you want to make and build, well, this very calming Taurus season can give you the break and the steadiness to start building on your life. whatever that means for you. When and if you earn the love and friendship of a Taurus, count your blessings. They'll be there for you, and you will also be there for yourself as we move into this building, steady, enduring Taurus season that we are entering this week. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here and listening to The Voice of Astrology. I will see you all in the stars.